Hello everyone, back to today's second video. I've already done the weekend forecast. You can find the video to that here on the home page. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the pollen count. There's also a written version, gets out from buttons at the top of the page. Going to be quite an unsettled week coming up. Pretty cool, pretty changeable, very autumnal. Really in many ways. I'll let you have a look at weekend forecast and see what you think to that. So this is going to be having a look at what's happening in the tropical Atlantic Ocean. We've been keeping an eye on the category 5. When it's category 4, it went back to category 5 again. It's back down to category 4 now. Hurricane Irma. And also we'll have the latest on Katia and also Jose as well. We've had 3 hurricanes through the tropical Atlantic this week. Really interesting weather. This hurricane, the main one, Irma, is currently battering Cuba and it's on its way up to Florida anytime now. Could be really horrendous weather in Florida tomorrow, and I'll bring you up to date with all the latest right now. So this is the latest image of the category 4 Hurricane Irma. Huge swirl of cloud hitting particularly the northern part of Cuba. This is the island of Cuba. Of course, that is the centre of Irma just there. And we've got Florida up here. You can see that already we are beginning to get the first sort of bands of rain starting to move up towards the southern tip of Florida, although the main part of Irma is still actually down around Cuba. But this storm is going to be pushing northwards in the coming few hours. So this is the latest in terms of what's happening in the tropical Atlantic at the moment. So let's show you where Irma is right now. So that is category 4 Hurricane Irma. I say it's really giving a battering to Cuba at the moment. I've got Katia over here. That's moved out of the Gulf of Mexico and into Mexico now, and it is rapidly decaying. So this was a hurricane, it's now down to a tropical depression. And then this is category 4 Hurricane Jose over here. That's just beginning to flirt with sort of those far eastern islands of the Caribbean, but it shouldn't go any further into the Caribbean. We'll have a look at its forecast position in a moment though. And then just to bring you over here to the coast of Africa, the Atlantic coast of Africa, we've got another yellow X appearing. That's not a storm, it certainly isn't a hurricane, it's just an area of interest really at the moment. It's under 40% chance of becoming a tropical storm at the moment, but sort of in its genesis, of course, at the moment. Just an area of thunderstorms, basically, and that's how these storms and hurricanes begin. They just begin as an area in the Atlantic, an area of thunderstorms and showers that form within the Genesis region, which is normally off the coast of Africa, in the warm waters there. And then it just depends on the exact conditions, really, whether these thunderstorms start to rotate and turn into areas of low pressure, and then from low pressure they make a development to depressions, then from depressions they go to storms, then from storms to hurricanes. So there is very much a progression that occurs here through to a hurricane, a cycle, if you like, that takes place. At the moment, this is just at its sort of conception. It may never develop into a storm, it may never develop into a hurricane, but it's another area of interest over there towards the coast of Africa. Right, let's see what's happening with Katia first of all then. So this is the current position of Hurricane Katia. Just it's now into Mexico. As I say, it's gone rapidly down to a tropical depression. It'll move further inland and weaken as it does so. Still bringing a lot of very wet weather though, of course. And then just to remind you where Jose is. Hurricane Jose is over here. This is what Jose is forecast to do. It's all from the National Hurricane Centre, by the way. You can find a link to the National Hurricane Centre on the links page. So the current position of category 4 Hurricane Jose is just there. Just, as I say, flirting with those eastern islands of the Caribbean. It's forecast to move generally northwards, so it should just about stay away, or essentially it should just about stay away from most of the Caribbean. It may bring some heavy showers and some strong winds to some of those eastern parts of the Caribbean. You notice it is very close at the moment, or will be very close in a few hours, to Puerto Rico, for example. This Category 4 hurricane right now is probably going to go down to a Category 3 within the next 24 to 36 hours, and then it should go further down by the time you get through to Tuesday. It's just here, so to the east of the Bahamas, and at that point it's likely to be going down to Category 2 or a Category 1 hurricane. So that's Jose, and then of course the main event is Irma, and as I say, this is the position of Category 4 Hurricane Irma right now. It is giving a real pasting to Cuba. So what a Category 4 hurricane means is that we've got sustained winds of 115 knots or 130 miles per hour, a central pressure of 937 millibars, and its movement is west-northwest at around 12 miles per hour. This is how Hurricane Irma is forecast to progress over the coming days. So Irma is just there right now and giving a pasting to Cuba. It's going to be moving northwards into Florida. So by midday on Sunday, it's hitting the southern southwestern coast of Florida. I mean, it's predicted forecast to move northwards through Florida. That's its position by 2 a.m. on Monday morning. Still as a major hurricane. It's probably going to be Category 4 as it hits Florida, and it's probably going to stay as Category 4 as it moves up Florida, before eventually, by the time you get through to Tuesday, it leaves Florida, goes to Georgia, and then it should start to weaken very rapidly, go down to tropical storm. By the time we get through to the middle part of the week, it's up here around Tennessee. By then, it's down to a tropical depression. So that's how we're predicting, we're forecasting, predicting Irma to develop. Let's see what the GFS model is doing with this. So this is the latest position of Hurricane Irma with the GFS model, just there hitting Cuba right now. That, of course, over there is Hurricane Jose as well, and this is what's left over here of Katia. So we're going to push this, and by the way, this is the area of interest over towards Africa. The thunderstorms have just been to move off the coast of Africa. Right, let's see what Irma's going to do. And through the next few hours, the GFS model gradually starts to push out northwards from Cuba, heading up in towards Florida. So this is the position by the time we get through to midday on Sunday. Yes, it's hitting the southern and southwestern coast of Florida as a Category 4 hurricane. It then carries on pushing northwards through Florida during the course of Sunday. This is 6 a.m. on Monday morning, when it's beginning to clear the southern part of Florida, but it is very much raging across central and northern parts of the state of Florida. Then it carries on pushing further northwards, starting to weaken as it leaves Florida. At the end of Monday, it will be heading in towards Georgia and the South Carolinas, and it will begin to ease down in intensity very rapidly. By the time you get through to middle part of next week, that is the position of Hurricane Irma. It'll be somewhere then around Tennessee through the middle part of next week as a tropical depression. That is Hurricane Jose, by the way. Still not really doing a great deal. It's sitting there in the tropical Atlantic, still waiting to see where that's going to go. And that's the area of interest from Africa, just there, possibly by that point up to a tropical storm. That may be Tropical Storm Lee. So that's how the GFS is predicting things. This is the ECMWF. By the way, this is the website tropicaltidbits.com, and you can find a link to Tropical Tidbits on the links page. So again, this is the latest position for Category 4's Hurricane Irma across Cuba. At the moment, by the time you get through to midnight on Monday, Hurricane Irma is pushing rapidly northwards through Florida, bringing devastating weather to Florida. And then by the time you get through to midnight on Tuesday, Irma is leaving Florida, heading into Georgia, as a now rapidly weakening hurricane, possibly down to tropical storm by that point. And by the middle part of next week, we're just left with Irma here somewhere around Tennessee, possibly up to Kentucky, and just as an area of low pressure, albeit with tropical remains by then. That is Jose, of course, just there again away from the Caribbean, but not all that far away, still lurking around. And we're not totally out of the woods with Jose. We're going to wait and see where Jose goes. In fact, if I run you on to the end of the ECM run, look what the model is doing with Jose. It is actually taking it very close to the eastern seaboard, not to the Caribbean, not to Florida, but sort of in this central part of the eastern seaboard of the States. That, as I say, is Hurricane Jose, just there still messing around in the Atlantic. So we're not out of the woods with Jose. It might do something further down the line. And by that point, we've probably got Hurricane Lee there in the tropical Atlantic as well. Just a close-up view on America. So this is the GFS current position with Irma, or it will be a position at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So it's leaving Cuba. It's heading up into southern parts of Florida. Let's push through to 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday tomorrow. And there is Irma. It's down towards the south-southwestern tip of Florida at that point, but the whole state, it's a very big storm, so the whole state of Florida is being probably quite devastated at this point by severe rains and very severe winds, and also probably tidal surges as well. The actual eye of the storm is down to the southwest of Florida. By the time you go through to midnight on Monday, Irma continues to push northwards into more central parts of Florida. So that's the position by midday on Monday, where Irma is across northern parts of Florida. At that point, will be starting to weaken at this point as it pushes further inland, but still packing a real punch even then. It's not till Tuesday, but we get Irma out of Florida into Georgia and the Carolinas, and at that point it is starting to weaken down very rapidly. Here's the precipitation forecast from the GFS model for Hurricane Irma. We can see that it's pushing north, so it's dark purple colours there, indicating torrential rain moving up across Florida during the next few hours. Is taking us to midday on Monday, when Irma is then across northern parts of the state of Florida and heading into Georgia and South Carolina as well. And then we get through to the middle part of next week, we push Irma further northwards as a rapidly decaying feature. But you'll notice even then, still bringing a lot of heavy rain to states like Tennessee and Northern Carolina. By day 10, by the way, this is Jose just here, not all that far away from the eastern seaboard of the United States. The ECMUF, let's see how that is looking as well. So let's go back and we can see that at midnight on Sunday, Hurricane Irma is down here, still to the north of Cuba, heading up towards southern parts of Florida. This is how it looks at midnight on Monday. So tomorrow going to be a really horrendous day across Florida. This is midnight on Monday, where Irma is to the west, southwest of Florida, but it's a huge storm, so it'll cover the whole state of Florida with really severe weather. The worst of it looks like it's in the southwestern part of Florida. By the time you go through to Tuesday, it's midnight Tuesday, Irma's pushing into Georgia, and it is then weakening down to a tropical storm. You'd hardly know that much has happened by the time you get through to Wednesday. Just a flabby area of low pressure centered somewhere around Tennessee. That is the day 10 chart. Irma, nothing to worry about there, but look at that, we have got Jose very close to the eastern seaboard of the United States, possibly threatening those eastern seaboard areas. That looks like it's some sort of storm as well over towards Mexico, so not sure what's going to happen with that. finally, I'm just going to leave you with the advisory from the National Hurricane Centre. So we've seen the predictions. I'll just give you the key points from this page, which is sort of the warning advisory page from the National Hurricane Centre. These are always worth a look. The key messages with Irma is number one, that we are expecting Irma will continue to bring life-threatening wind, storm surge and rainfall hazards to portions of the Bahamas, the north coast of Cuba, especially over the adjacent Cuban Keys through to tonight. Number two key message is that Irma is expected to make landfall in Florida as an extremely dangerous major hurricane and will bring life-threatening wind impacts to much of the state, regardless of the exact track of the centre of the storm. Number three, key message number three, is that there is a danger of life-threatening storm surge inundation in portions of central and southern Florida, including the Florida Keys, during the next 36 hours, where a warm storm surge warning is in effect. The threat of significant storm surge flooding along the southwest coast of Florida has increased, and 8 to 12 feet of inundation above ground level is possible in this area. This is a life-threatening situation. Everyone in these areas should take all actions to prevent life and property from rising water and follow evacuation instructions from local officials. And finally, point number four is that Irma is expected to produce very heavy rain and inland flooding. Total rain accumulations of 8 to 15 inches with isolated amounts of 20 inches are expected over the Florida Keys and much of Florida Peninsula through to Tuesday night. Irma will likely bring periods of heavy rain to much of Florida Panhandle, Georgia, South Carolina and western North Carolina through to the early part of next week, including some mountainous areas which are prone to flash flooding. All areas seeing heavy rainfall from Irma will experience a risk of local and flash flooding. So clearly a very, very severe event is about to take place in Florida. We know the devastation this has brought to much of the Caribbean in recent days. It's still bringing devastation to the Bahamas and to Cuba right now. Florida is next in the firing line. If you're in those areas and watching this, just take the messages that the National Hurricane Centre have given you seriously. Evacuate if you can. If you can't, take precautions for this very severe weather event that will be occurring through the course of tomorrow across Florida. And, of course, stay safe if you can. Right, that's all for now, and thanks very much for watching.